Hello and welcome to the DCG development update. We are here with the platform, the mobile, and the core team, and we are going to announce in a live show today that we will release platform on the 29th of July. We are planning this session, though, to 60 minutes, and we will have a dedicated Q&A session at the end. How about we just start right away? Let's jump right into it. Sam, would you kick us off while I'm trying to find the sharing
Sure.
button?
So, yeah, various people worked on different things. I was away. I was on vacation about 1 out of 2 weeks this cycle, but even during that vacation, I was working heavily on the proposal to the network, and so my coding was a little bit less in the last 2 weeks. But I was working on Masternode voting fixes. I was also working on just platform fixes. We actually, I want everybody to know we just had our first testnet bug or chain halt in a very long time. It was about 2 hours ago. And the fix for that has actually already been built because we had the same issue in Masternode voting branch. So we had fixed it there. But yeah, so as soon as we get a new testnet up and running, it should be fixed. We don't have any actual code to write to resolve it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so yeah, almost done. Go back. Yeah, Odysseus, because of the accelerated release, has also been working on platform review and fixes. Paul has been working on the platform TUI, trying to test Masternode voting for us to finally put just have that finished. Evgeny was working on the GroveDB visualizer, but he was also working on GroveDB fixes while he started at least. So let's go right into it. So yes, I think many people are very interested in this. Last month, we posted a proposal for an accelerated release plan. Actually, I guess it's still this month, last cycle. And it passed with about 68% voting in favor and 32% voting against. And because of that, we are going down on like an accelerated release plan, and we are releasing on the 29th of July. This means that state sync will not be included. Since withdrawals will take a while to review, they are also not included in this release. But basically, there is a lot actually included in this release, like years of work. So right now, I'm just writing here what we still have to do, and most of it is just investigation and tests. We have to, I mean, we have already worked on most of these, and we're in a mid state for some of them. Like for example, chain halt investigation and strategy document has already been started. We basically need a document of what to do in the case of a chain halt. So, for example, like, oh, the chain halt just stops. What do we do? And then we can go through like, okay, check this, check this, check this down a plan because sometimes I might be sleeping or other people might not be reachable or some things like that might happen, and various people on the team all need to be able to quickly deal with such an event. Um, we also have been working on testing of version updates on testnet. So Odysseus has been working on that. I think he might say a few things on it later. Um, yeah, basically we have tested it before, but we're testing it again with some more interesting updates. We were working on Masternode voting tests. We need to get Masternode voting like really very working perfectly. We still have some issues in proofs. Sometimes the proofs don't work. So we have to get an Evo node migration guide. So basically, like you're an Evo node, what do you do to start platform when it's released? We need to deploy the network a few times, like an actual, deploy and update with all the new versions. That will come a little bit later. That will come like mid-July. And we have some fee adjustments that we're going to be working on. We're going to really cap the fee adjustments. We're going to basically just work on this for about a week to make sure our fees are not like crazy bad compared to where they should be. It's actually not even me working on it. I think Paul and Odysseus will take that. And then we're going to just do more code review and then release. So here's the schedule. Tender Dash will be released end of June, basically, in the upcoming few days. GroveDB will be released in early July, though for GroveDB, we just might make that a beta 1 and have the final release at the same time, just so we don't have to do a patch of 1.0 in the case that something needs changing. DashMed and platform will release a beta 1 in early July. And then we'll release the final version on July 29th. Okay. So
Lukash,
Lucas here. Or Lucas, are you here? Oh, there you are.
but
Lucas?
I'm not sure he can hear us. Or we cannot. We can
It doesn't
definitely.
really matter. These are very, very small. So
Yeah, please go.
he he worked on a release candidate and he released that, and he's also releasing the ABCI hook for Tender Dash for Dev 1. That's what he's worked on for Tender Dash this week. There's very little. Tender Dash is pretty stable, so we don't really have much work there. This is also his slide.
Indeed,
Oh,
he says he can't unmute.
okay. Let's see if we can.
Okay, let's see if I can unmute him. Oh, going back. Can I go back the slides? Give me a second. Give me a second.
Let's first unmute him.
Yeah. Let's unmute him. I can ask us to unmute. I can only ask to unmute.
Okay, try that.
I tried. Let's make him a co-host. Okay, I make him a co-host.
Lugash, any chance that you can unmute yourself now?
Okay.
Well, let's go through the other slides. And in the meantime, Lukash, I would suggest just leaving the call and coming back in. Yeah, let's go through the other slides quickly.
Yeah.
Everybody can see beautiful hair in the meantime.
Masternode voting, various fixes.
Yeah, can we make it into a slideshow? Yeah, so as I was saying, like I was on holiday a little bit, but these are the things I did work on. We had some issues with Masternode vote fixes. One was that the owner identity was being used instead of the voter identity, so you could only vote with the owner instead of the voter. This was actually not done on purpose. It passed testing because on local DevNet, the owner and the voter have the same keys. So that was a problem, and it's been fixed. The contested queries, yeah, we had multiple issues in contested queries, about 5 different smaller issues that were all fixed. The specialized balances were not added to the sum tree verification before. So basically, when you use specialized balances, it would cause a chain halt because you would actually be using amounts of money, but you wouldn't. Uh, I mean, it wouldn't equal out in the sum tree verification. So now that's done. Yeah, another one is basically masternodes that were moved needed to have their votes removed. So that's also been done now, and that makes it so you can't vote multiple times. The contested unique indexes can also now only be on non-mutable document types. And that was actually a problem. For example, like, in the system on a mutable document, you can actually change some data that now allows you to become a contested unique index. And that becomes very, very strange, very hard to like figure out what to do. So we just decided not to deal with that situation because it's also not a common situation that you'd ever really want. So yeah. Yeah, let's go to the next slide. Secure core RPC. Okay, so Ivan is very sad that he can't make to the call today. He had a personal emergency right before. I'm going to just take his slide, but I am not extremely familiar with everything, so I'm going to just do my best to talk about it. So the first one is there was some inefficiencies around the git mn list diff on core RPC commands, and now he changed it to subscribe to the Masternode list, which is more efficient. We had an attack on the second one. We had an attack on the system where basically the identity creates use an instance unlock, and we figured out that asking core to verify the instance unlocks basically was extremely expensive from core's perspective and could time out. And this could lead to massive issues on platform. So what we did was we actually now import the Masternode lists into platform and verify the instance unlock directly on the platform chain, which has a lot of advantages in terms of speed. We no longer have to ask core, and yeah, it works very well. There is an issue though that we're kind of looking for. We believe that about 30 seconds per hour, the system should fail, according to our calc. Well, even less, probably 20 seconds per hour, you're going to get back an error. And then you just have to retry. Now, we're probably going to go to mainnet with this because it's not a very common occurrence, but we're going to have like 1% issues here, most likely. We'll see if we can maybe fix it before. The next one, oh yeah, no, actually we do have the fix. Sorry. We're going to actually fix it on the client side, and we figured out how to fix it, and we are going to fix it. Forgot about that. Next one is core test core RPC queue overload. Yeah, we tested to see what would happen if we just blasted core with RPC requests, and that's done. And we proved that there were commands that could block the RPC queue. So then Ivan was working on a priority RPC queue for core for the critical and non-critical logic, and that's in progress. And I think there's the last one is core RPC permissions. I'm not really sure what that means or what was done there, so I'll leave it. Maybe Ivan can add something in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
But
thank you
yeah,
very much.
that's been a big and important thing to work on, like the RPC between core and platform. We had something working. We were not sure it was working well enough. We needed to verify that it was working good enough for mainnet, and it will be working good enough for mainnet after this work. Yeah. Okay. So I think Paul is next.
My audio already
Oh,
works, so we can get back to my slides.
okay. Kurt.
Sorry for that, I had some glitch in Zoom. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Massive pay cut.
basically two things I did, or what Sam already said. I released Tender-010 dev1, which is a kind of release candidate. I don't expect any changes before 1.0.0. And that's about Tender-Dash. In terms of the platform, I worked on the platform SDK, mainly focused on QA of the Masternode voting. So at this point, the progress is that we have like 6 requests. Four of them are well tested. As tested, I mean both positive scenario as well as scenarios where we put wrong invalid data into some fields and stuff like that. So we worked on that with some a bit, some fixed issues that I found. But I would say these 4 endpoints are pretty stable at this point. And the 2 that are related to votes, so like checking votes given by some identity and stuff like that. So these are still in a to-do because we need to generate some test data, and that test data should be generated with TUI that Paul is working on. So that's pretty much it on my side. So now we can go back to Paul.
Thank you. Paul. My dear Paul. Can you unmute? I don't think he is in a call.
Yeah, looks like
Sam?
Zoom doesn't work for us.
Yeah, I forgot that
Then would you
he's.
take? Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that it's after midnight his time. So I don't think he was ever even here. Or maybe he was like at the very beginning of the call.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, he's been working on the other side, one thing that he worked on was a strategy test for like massive amounts of identity creation to make sure that that wouldn't block the system. And in the previous system, right, the previous one, we were able to do about 10 identity creates per block, I think. Sounds what I remember, but it wasn't good enough. And I mean, I think it was like 10%, 10 per minute, right? It was like really not a good idea, not a good amount. The new one is not going to have any problems like this. The new code that we wrote because of Ivan's code. Yeah. The next one that he worked on was we needed to be able to add masternodes and evo nodes. I don't know why I just said evo nodes, but masternodes and evo nodes into the TUI to be able to vote with them. So that's done. And he's working on masternode voting in the TUI. So it's actually going to be quite cool because you'll be able to vote directly from the TUI if as an app if you want. You can have the TUI locally on your computer. It's very secure, and just import your voting key, look at the proposals that are there, and you can vote. The very beginning, it's not going to, I mean, when I say proposals, I meant contested resource proposals for basically names at the beginning, but yeah. Okay. Work on fees and protocol versions.
On me, Sam.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So hi guys. So I was asked to postpone state sync and spend some time on the protocol upgrade testing. So this was made on strategy test level. So basically we wanted to make sure that okay, the protocol version is upgrading. So we knew that this was working, but we wanted to make sure that a new eventual platform version is indeed taken into consideration. So I ran some tests, changing some signature fees, for example, and generating a lot of state transitions. And by comparing the number of, not the number, the amount of gas used, this was clearly showing that indeed the new version was being used. So that was cool. So the next step is, okay, we need to test this on a DevNet. So I'm gonna organize this in the following days. And while I was working on those tests, I saw that basically storage fees were duplicated into the code. And I have started working on a refactoring and make sure to use the new versioning system instead of the old way, which was a map of epoch index into the storage fee values. So why we had this? Well, storage fees were implemented way before versioning systems, so that's why we have this duplication that is going to be refactored very soon. So Balash, can we go on the next slide, please? So yeah, okay, state sync is postponed. I just want to very quickly say where was it and what needs to be done. So the integration was complete. So we had a working state sync. The only thing is that there's a lot of room for optimization, especially on both load snapshot and load chunk and write chunk. So the first one was already optimized, so we gained like 500 times speed. So there's a similar optimization room for the writing one. So we are, I want to say, very close of completing this task and have it on acceptable speed. But it was decided that this will go after the release. So that's why we postponed it. Thank you.
And now Evgeny.
Hello. Oh, yes, visualizer. I think now we're at the version that should be released with GroupDB. And now I'm about to show what was done. The highlight is that it's integrated into platform. So a running platform means if configured, we can use the visualizer. And let me share my screen here. Sorry for the delay. I suppose it's visible now.
Yep.
So here's a well-known platform TUI, which is will be used for demonstration purposes. Now we'll create an register identity with a known balance, let's say of 17 dash. So here we have an identity register that now let's find it inside Visualizer. So as you remember, it's a web application which is accessible from a browser, and so no installation needed. What's new? We have a log window, we have drive profile, and it's pretty usable because now we have names instead of numbers, and we can fetch balances right here. Go to them. Yeah, you can fetch all of the subtree. Let's look. What do we have here? An identity balance, which is, I guess it's in credits, 16.99. Indeed, we have our identity balance right here in Visualizer. Also, we can fetch the identities. I guess here it is, this one. We are firstly create the identity. So there is still a room for improvement, like for drive profile to add some annotations to these fields, because I don't remember actually which one of them represents keys, because we could also see our public keys there. But anyway,
I think
okay,
it's, let's just try one. I'd say either 160 or 128, right?
Yeah, for both subtrees here. Yeah, let's see. 0 and 3.
Yeah, that's 0 and 3. Well,
you're looking at it. We have 4 of them.
I think it's this.
Oh, we have a reference to somewhere. So this is it.
I mean, I can't wait to use this for debugging. I mean, sometimes it's pretty needed.
I agree. So
Thank you. Okay.
mostly that's it. Thank you for your time and attention. See you in 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah. I'll just take these. These are mostly done by Ivan. So another task was to look at the system data contracts to see if they're, I mean, we wrote the system data contracts years ago, and there's not much to change really, but it's just like, okay, does everything the way it's supposed to be? We have made slight improvements, like we added a created at for the domain name, so you could actually see when different domains were there. I think what we've also done is we've written in the ability to buy and sell domains, and we're restricting it at the code level for now, just because we don't want to have to change the contract. Changing the contract is more complicated than changing code and data triggers. So do not allow dependent schemas. I have no idea what that one means. Let's see if there's some notes here. I do not see any notes. So oh, maybe there was a note. Okay, so this one allowed conditional property definition, which is not supported by DPP. Currently, we ensured strict document schema definition. Okay. I don't know exactly what that means, but fixed deserialization of former required field. Okay. and fix background SSL renewal in Dashmate. Seems like good work, Ivan. Okay, let's move on to the core team then.
Let's move on to the core team.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So there we go. So I'm gonna focus at the moment on current development, what we kind of accomplished in the last 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna move forward to looking forward and what our kind of plan is in the next month or so. So major things, Sam talked about this a little bit earlier. Ivan had been working on it, what we're kind of calling RPC-Q optimization. So making sure that, spamming from platform cannot end up blocking critical RPC queries. So now there are multiple different queues in the RPC system, and we will pull from the highest priority queue until it's empty, and then we'll go to lower priority queues. So that was good. Ivan, Konstantin, and myself kind of worked on that, and were able to get that merged in this last week. We also merged in the fix that should resolve all of the kind of testnet governance non-determinism that we were seeing. That got merged in. That was in review in the last kind of sprint. Couple of other things that are still in progress, kind of. They're hard to like give a single word, name, because over the last 2 weeks, a lot of progress has been made in them. There's a lot of backports, a lot of refactoring that needs to be done on each of these still in progress items. So BIP 324, assume UTXO, they both look like they'll probably end up getting pushed to V22, especially now. But a lot of changes related to them have been merged in. It's possible they could get brought in a V21.1. We want to bring, especially BIP 324, we want to release that as soon as we possibly can. But now that we have a V21 release date coming up, we want to make sure that we are kind of stabilizing V21 and focusing on testing and making sure that everything is good there. So, like I said, basically BIP 324, assume UTXO, and obviously, additional Bitcoin backports will end up moving over to V22. But I am not emotionally ready to give up on them yet, but realistically, they almost certainly will be V22 items. So I think we can, I guess that's all dandy. So here's very quickly current V20.x status, about 42% on V20.1, and virtually everyone is on a version of V20. We can move on here. And so our basic, very high level V21 release timeline, I've started to, we have a GitHub issue open now on the both release process for V21 as well as the release timeline. We're still identifying exactly what is going to need to be tested and how we're going to go about all of that testing. Basically, DevNet testing is going to begin today or tomorrow, as soon as we kind of figure out a little bit more of how we want to go about it. And we're going to be using basically the latest nightly version of Dash Core, which is basically V21. I think it calls itself V20.1, but it's V21. So we're going to start doing DevNet testing with that nightly version today or tomorrow. We've already been doing a little bit of DevNet testing with the platform team, but there's going to be dedicated core DevNet testing. RC1 should be released in the near future. Historically, we try to target at least about a month between RC and final. And so currently I'm saying about July 1st. I think that's next Monday. It might even be ready end of week this week. There's a couple of things we need to wrap up for RC1, but nothing extreme. So RC1 will be coming in the near future, hopefully right around July 1st, maybe even a little bit earlier than that. And then DevNet testing is going to continue from today, tomorrow, all the way through the next probably 2 to 3 weeks. And platform has been using testnet for testing, and so we want to make sure that they have a relatively stable testnet testing environment. However, at some point between now and final, we'll be upgrading testnet to version 21, making sure that functions as expected. We want to do the DevNet testing as well because testnet has, in some ways, it's already moved to quote unquote V21. The enhanced hard fork has already activated, stuff like that. So that platform has been able to do their testing over the last months. And so the exact process for what testnet testing of v21 will look like is still to be determined, but that will start happening maybe anywhere between a week from now and 2 weeks from now, and that's going to continue through until right around the final release. And then, as we've talked about, the final release is scheduled for July 29th. So that's what we're shooting for right now. And yeah, it'll be a relatively aggressive testing timeline, but V21 is not significant from Core's perspective. It is, but it isn't. Everything in V21 we have tested prior. So the biggest things that we're looking for here is making sure that version 20 and version 21 are still compatible, and that we wrap up a couple of loose ends in V21. So yeah. In a lot of ways, V21 could have been called V20.1. It doesn't have really a hard fork per se. And so nodes can continue running version 20 as long as they're not a masternode. Like regular exchanges or users could continue running version 20. They won't hard fork away or anything like that. They should follow along just fine. Of course, we would like people to upgrade to version 21, but really the only people that this version will be mandatory for is masternodes. So, and Masternode's upgrading will be what triggers the basically activation of platform. So here's the list of merge PRs in the last week or two. A lot of backports, good couple of fixes, but a lot of backports. We'll see in this next kind of couple of cycles a lot more kind of release preparation stuff. And so there will probably be a lot of small backports. So probably, you know, this list will be a lot longer next time we talk, but a lot of it will be kind of pretty small, easy, trivial PRs. But yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to talk about, Balash. We can move on.
Thank you. We can move on to the mobile team.
Yeah, thanks, Masa. I'm Balash. So yeah, a little heavier sprint this time around than the last, for Android anyways. Continue to work on the Rust libraries. Multi-threaded support for conversions was done. On the DashPay side, we had to create a transaction metadata contract on testnet to continue with our updates for DashPay. And we had to investigate some alternatives for our Firebase invitation solution. They're going to be removing some of their features that we rely on for those invites. So we have to find a replacement for that. Excuse me. On Maya, we had to, so they periodically are adding currencies that we don't have visibility to. So we want to hide those, any new currencies that are added to their network, essentially, until we have, you know, an opportunity to look at it and make updates in the app to support them. As well as getting a reliable FX service integrated into it. Google Map has a new render that we needed to implement, so that's important for our Explore Dash features. And the Java SDK work, we were able to create usernames, but it had some bugs, so that was a work in progress, as well as the put identities and put document work. Excuse me. For iOS, still lots of work on ferment going on. It's a double ferment there, I guess. Mixins and traits, smart pointers. I had a crash in Dash Wallet that needed to be fixed when exporting transactions, as well as a regression issue with historical rates. And then, yeah, lots of work on CoinJoin, which is getting pretty close to getting ready to go through full QA testing. So yeah, that's it for mobile. Both of them had releases. We were able to get through the approval process for the Apple Store this time around, so that was good. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to the questions. Sam, if you can turn your video on, you might be the main character of this session. So, some questions ahead of time in case they aren't asked from Digital Cash Network, aka Joel. What's the estimated delay from July's launch date to the date when DPNS and Dash Pay are released and live?
We currently do not know. We haven't made that decision yet, basically. We've been investigating if we release DPNS and Dash Pay at release, or if we push it back 2 weeks. And we'll probably know that we'll know it sooner to our release date. And it also heavily depends on the mobile team being ready for these releases.
Thank you very much. What are some of the ways that community or external developers can help advance and work on platform, core, and product roadmaps?
What were the three again? So we have product, core, and what?
Product roadmaps.
I mean, I can
Platform, core, and product roadmaps.
Yeah, I can interject real quick. I mean, we have I posted this on Discord as well, I think, but on the website, we do have a outside contributor kind of process, and any information that you might need to have if you want to contribute to any of the products, basically. But obviously, if anyone has any questions or problems, feel free to reach out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from
if anybody ever wants for free.
Yeah, from course perspective, we are always looking for people to help out. There's a good couple of issues on GitHub, primarily the Bitcoin backports. It's relatively easy to get started in. It's really what a lot of the team kind of got started with for learning the code base. So that is definitely an opportunity, and it's everything you do is, reviewed and made sure you're doing it correctly. So it's relatively hard to mess up. But yeah.
Yeah, another thing to add from a mobile perspective, if you're not familiar with it, I mean, our kind of release process usually is for new features is we usually do new features on Android first. And then we, assuming everything goes well, we don't have any major changes, we then implement on iOS. On rare occasions, we'll do, or on some occasions, we'll do them at the same time. But especially when resources are constrained, that usually is the case. And those are really good opportunities for the community to get involved, because if we've already done it on Android, that means all the designs are already done and reviewed, and the code is implemented on Android. So it's a really good reference for anyone that wants to continue the implementation of things on iOS. So those are some of the very first things I'd say, people can jump on from a mobile perspective, things where we've implemented something on Android and haven't had the resources to do it on iOS. But if anyone has new features or other things that they've liked, wanted to implement, I strongly encourage, reach out to me first, just so we can kind of have a chat, make sure, we have sufficient designs and other things. But yeah, highly encouraged for outside contributors.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Next.
and on platform, wait, one thing.
Yeah.
Platform, I would like to ask if anybody in the community wants to help work on documentation of platform, that would be extremely appreciated. We need more people on that.
Thank you. After withdrawals, what are some expected release milestones for the future?
Well, we have fungible tokens. We have state sync. We have withdrawals. Those are going to be like the big first three, in probably not that order, but it's probably going to be withdrawals first, then state sync, and then fungible tokens. But we might have a release with two in one. What else? We are going to have a lot of stabilization happening in the first few months, right? We are going to have issues. We are going to see some things that we just could not have seen on testnet, and I have no idea what they're going to be. So, it will be a very interesting few months. We shouldn't expect too much, and I want to get away from Dashcore overpromising. We need to be pretty straightforward that stability will take time. But yeah, fungible tokens is gonna happen soon. Not a heavy lift there, because if you rewind the video from today, you can actually see in the Grove DB tokens in there. So the tree is already there for it, and there was like the hooks already made for it, but that's only representing about 20% of the effort to finish it. What else do we have? We will start working this year on smart contract support, but it will be after the stability is done.
Thank you. Now that we have one release date, when can we expect the roadmap to be updated with more concrete dates? How many releases per year are we targeting?
We'll probably see a release to platform in the first few months. We're going to see very frequent releases. I would expect every 2 weeks to 4 weeks. That's going to die down, and then we'll probably start seeing releases to platform every 2 to 3 months.
After mainnet launch, if there is a chain hold, we won't be able to write new data, but can we expect all written data to be forever available and reliably retrievable even during chain holds?
It depends on the type of chain hold. There's multiple types. Some will actually make platform go offline, and some will just make the chain hold platform still working, but not being able to produce blocks. Platform still working and not being able to produce blocks is generally 95% of types of chains halts. So in that case, yes, you can query your data and the query will still work. On the 5% when basically everything goes down and can't start up, yeah, that no. We've never actually seen one of those, but they do exist.
Thank you very much. I guess that's it for today. And hopefully we see you on Discord and we see you in 2 weeks here.
Yes.
Wish everyone a wonderful rest of the day.
It's going to be a heavy, heavy month. Wish us luck.
Wish us luck. Thank you.